first, let us see how the oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood moves through the heart. Once you have that idea, it's very easy to understand the structure and function of the heart. And I will try my level best to make it as simple as possible. So this is how the oxygenated blood flows through the heart. Oxygen-rich blood from the lungs that is transferred to pulmonary veins, then to left atrium. Then through the mitral valve, it is transferred to left ventricle. Then through the semilunar valve or aortic valve, it is transferred to aorta or ascending aorta. From aorta, this oxygenated blood is transferred to all parts of the body, where it unloads oxygen and loads carbon dioxide. If you are familiar with these terms, it's fine. Otherwise, please watch this video 2 to 3 times for better understanding. Then regarding the flow of deoxygenated blood, oxygen-poor blood from the body that is transferred to superior and inferior vena cava. Then it moves through right atrium, then via tricuspid valve. It moves into the right ventricle. Then through pulmonary valve, it reaches left and right pulmonary arteries. Then this is transferred to lungs, where it is oxygenated, or it unloads carbon dioxide and loads oxygen. As you see, the movement of oxygenated blood primarily occurs through the left side of the heart, whereas the movement of deoxygenated blood primarily happens through the right side of the heart. Now let us see the function of each of these structures, starting with aorta. This is aorta. It is the largest artery in the body, carrying oxygenated blood from the left ventricle to all parts of the body. This is how the blood moves from left ventricle to the aorta, then it is transferred to different parts of the body. This green arrow for oxygenated blood and this red arrow for deoxygenated blood. The second structure is left ventricle. It is one of the 4 chambers of the heart, 1, 2, 3, 4, responsible for pumping oxygenated blood to the body via aorta, as you see here. The third structure is the right ventricle. Right ventricle pumps deoxygenated blood to the lungs via pulmonary artery for oxygenation. So, from the right ventricle, deoxygenated blood moves into the lungs via pulmonary artery. The next structure is the right atria. So, this is the right atria. This atrium receives deoxygenated blood from the body. So, from the deoxygenated blood from superior and inferior vena cava is pumped into the right atrium. And then that is pumped into the right ventricle. The next structure is left atria. So, this is the left atria. It receives oxygenated blood from the lungs through this pulmonary vein and pumps it into the left ventricle. As you see, from pulmonary vein, oxygenated blood enters left atria, then it is transferred to this left ventricle. Next is pulmonary artery. This artery carries deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle to the lungs for oxygenation. It splits into left and right branches that leading to each lung. The next structure is pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein carries oxygenated blood from the lungs back to the atrium of the heart, completing the circuit of pulmonary circulation. The next structure is the superior vena cava. Superior vena cava is a large vein that carries deoxygenated blood. As you see, it's a large vein from the upper body, head, neck and arms to the right atrium of the heart. Next structure is inferior vena cava. This inferior vena cava is also a large vein that carries deoxygenated blood from the lower parts of the body like legs, abdomen to the right atrium of the heart. The next structure is a valve which is called as mitral valve. It is located between this left atrium and this left ventricle, preventing backflow of blood into the atrium during ventricular contraction. It has 2 leaflets. The next valve is the tricuspid valve. So this is a tricuspid valve that is situated between the right atrium and right ventricle, preventing backflow of blood into the atrium during ventricular contraction. It has 3 leaflets. And the final structure is the aortic valve, and this is the aortic valve. It is situated between left ventricle and aorta, responsible for regulating blood flow from the heart into the aorta during contraction and preventing backflow during relaxation. So these are the primary structures and their functions of the heart. Now I think you are clear with the structure and functions of different parts of a heart. Now let us see once again how the oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood flows through the heart. Oxygenated blood from oxygen-rich blood from lungs moves into pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein, as you see, this is the pulmonary vein. Then to the left atria. Then through this mitral valve, it enters the left ventricle. Then through the aortic valve, it enters into this aorta. Then it is circulated to different parts of the body. Regarding the flow of deoxygenated blood, oxygen-poor blood from the body is transferred to this superior vena cava and this inferior vena cava. Then it moves into this chamber that is right atria. From right atrium, it is transferred to right ventricle through this valve that is called as tricuspid valve. Then there is pulmonary semilunar valve. Through that valve, it is transferred to pulmonary artery. Then it is transferred to lungs for oxygenation. So this is how circulation of blood happens through heart, lungs and different parts of the body. Please watch 2 to 3 times for better understanding. Take care, stay blessed. Thank you so much. You are with biologyexamsforyou.com.